Ha! I did it. She says, soon after she drops on the hole in the ceiling, but I think I should also tell you the bad news. See, when I was fiddling around with those complex mechanisms upstairs, I may have accidentally activated all the traps on this corridor. You what? Kate asks, don't worry, I can fix this. Flower says, I think I know where most of the traps are. As long as you follow my instructions, you should be fine. I just need to do a quick test run, make sure that I'm not remembering anything wrong. The girl starts sprinting down the corridor, makes a surprisingly long jump, which lands her on a large stone with two cracks on either side of it. She then does an elegant pirouette and turns towards us. See, she tells everything's under control. As soon as she finishes talking, one of the walls opens up and a large pendulum blade starts swinging out of it. What is this, a game? I mean, still, like, it's ridiculous. Like, who sets up traps like that? Aiming directly for Flower, she rolls out of the way and triggers two more traps by accident. There are now dozens of arrows shooting out from both sides, while sharp spinning blades are coming out of the floor, moving in an all circle around her. At first glance, the girl appears to be just clumsily stumbling around while evading the traps out of sheer luck. As I watch her more closely, I realize that even though her movements all seem erratic, they have a way of flowing into one another, which allows her to not waste even a single second between two actions. I guess she wasn't kidding when she said she came to this place to train her acrobatic skills. Hydra shakes her head as she watches the girl jump around, and then he lays flat on the floor with his ear pressed against the ground, trying to listen for something. Guys, I know this looks bad, Flower tells us as she jumps off a wall, lands on her left hand, and then bounces off the floor like a spring. But if I keep going like this, I'll either remember the right path or I'll end up setting off all the traps, so it's win either way. Yeah, no, this is clearly not getting us anywhere, Hydra says. He stands up. That fox is going to be here any minute. We can't afford to dawdle here while the girl tests all the traps. The corridor is compromised, but I can hear some noise below us. These rooms have a subterranean level waiting to be found, and I'm about to create a shortcut to it. That sounds fun. Don't you dare, Kate shouts. What's that? Hardrick says with a grin. I'm having trouble hearing you because of all the noise those traps are making. He then punches the ground below us, which cracks all the stones and sends us falling down with all the rubble. I mean, our character is not very strong, so keep that in mind, Hardrick. You might gonna... our fucking knees might shoot out from like our fucking knees. Not the knees, the bottom part of the leg. What is it called? I mean, what is the bone below the femur? Yeah, that bone might shoot out from our kneecap. Well, I guess Darren should be able to heal that, but whatever. He then punches the ground below us with cracks all this, and then I would have hoped, but fortunately the surface we landed on was soft enough that it didn't break anything from the fall. Well, that's good at least. Drake, how could you do something so reckless? It shouts. Do you think we're all giants in disguise like you? You realize that if this unusually soft surface wasn't here to break our fall, would have broken all our bones. Would you have? I mean, both of you are mages. I think, except for Hardrick, both of the Darren and Kate should be able to take that fall. Or is it that just because she has ice magic, she literally is just a soft dough that can shoot out ice magic? If that's the case, then that's understandable that she would be weak, and then mages are not as OP as I thought. I was thinking mages to be like somewhere along the lines of like One Punch Man, where it's not just that he has like a strong punch, he has like insane defense as well. So I was thinking something along those lines, but apparently not. What is it? We would have broken all our bones. I swear, if I still had my ice powers, I would have... Alright, they don't have their powers. That makes sense. I still had my ice powers. I would have smacked you so hard in the head that I'd left you in a coma. As Kate talks, I can feel the surface we're on move slowly up and down. I can also hear a continuous little growl somewhere above us. Something not right here. Okay, this is an animal, I believe. Examine the surface more closely. It's probably fur, so hopefully that will be able to tell us that much. Start to look closely at the surface we're all sitting on to see if I can tell what's it made of. It has a sort of slithery feel to it. If I'm not mistaken, there are small dark green scales covering the whole surface. At this point in time, I could already have made an educated guess. Is it a dragon? What exactly we landed on? But still, a part of me did not want to believe it. So I looked up in the hopes that my intuition was wrong. By the way, where's Rose? She has not talked at all. 9 snake-like creatures, each at least 6 times the size of me, were all staring at me with their fangs bared and drool falling out of their mouth. All of the 9 snakes are connected to a large body. Is it a fucking Hydra? All the 9 snakes are connected to a large body we landed on, but we fell when we fell from the upper levels. I've only read about creatures like these in books before, but even so, no mistaking it. What we have landed on is the Hydra. Kate and Hydra are still arguing. It did not notice the situation we're in. Darren is only now inspecting the slithery green scale-covered surface we landed on. Rose is looking up at the snakes, terrified look in her eyes, unable to bring herself to speak. Guys, I tell Hardrick and Kate, I really hate to interrupt you, but I think you should take a look at this. When I then point upwards and both of them freeze for a moment. Gods have mercy, Hardrick says as he seems unable to avert his eyes from the hideous creature's head. "You won't get down from the Hydra," Darren shouts as he takes Rose to the in his arms and jumps off the monster's body now. I mean, isn't this the best opportunity to attack? I mean, Hardrick should be able to, with his strength, like puncture some organs on the Hydra. Even if it does not die, we should be able to get a few moments to run away or whatever. Slide off the creature's slippery body and landed on a stone floor below. We then all distance ourselves from the Hydra, arm ourselves, waiting to see what his first move will be. Snakehead all roars at the same time. The monster starts slowly approaching us, slowly, but its long tail swinging continuously from left to right as it walks. One of the snakes takes initiative and lunges at us. Its attack was rather slow, but we all had time to get out of the way of its way, but its impact with the wall behind us left a big hole in it. Darren wastes no time and uses his sword to cut off the head of the Hydra with one swift strike. Damn, even without his access to magic, he's fairly strong. "No, don't do that," I tell him. "Why would you do that?" The Hydra quickly retracts his headless snake body and all of the other 8 heads start screaming in pain, and in a matter of seconds the severed head grows back and all of the other heads grow quiet once more. "What?" Darren asks. "You didn't really believe those old legends about the Hydra growing 2 heads for every one you cut, right? I've fought Hydras before. None of them possess that kind of ability. Still, the regeneration ability of this one is through the roof. Last time I fought one of these, I had more than enough time to cut off all the heads before they start regenerating, but there's no way that's going to work with this particular monster. The only way we're killing it is we can find out where its heart is and stab it, or if we use fire to prevent it from regenerating." "Damnations," Kate says. "If only I had my ice magic, I would have easily cut off all those heads simultaneously." "Didn't the little girl have fire magic?" Darren asks. He then starts to shout the girl's name while looking at the hole in the roof. "Flower, hey Flower." There's no response. "You're wasting your breath," Hardrick says. "There's no way she can hear you from all the way up here. The sounds of all those traps are making." "You're probably right," Darren says as he readies his sword once more and takes a look towards the monster. The Hydra has taken a few steps back while Darren was talking and has been just standing there for a while, hesitating to attack. Must be afraid that it will get one of its head cut off again. Hearing check level 4. Ooh. I can hear someone's heart pounding very rapidly. Trying to look at the source of the sound, realize isn't coming from one of us, but from the Hydra. Try to block out all other sounds from my mind and focus solely on the loud beating of the monster's heart in order to pinpoint its exact location. Damn, that's some high-level hearing. It takes me a few seconds, but in the end, I managed to trace the sound back to its origin. The tip of the Hydra's tail. That's where it's hiding its weak spot. That's a weird place to hide your heart. Can it hide its heart? That's weird. Well, Hardrick says, if I'm not going to, it's not going to come at us. He doesn't finish his sentence and rushes straight for the 9-headed creature. Monster attacks the dwarf with 4 of its head, but he manages to jump out of the way and manages to place himself below the Hydra's body. Other then flexes all of his muscles and starts lifting the Hydra off the ground. As he roars loudly, his face almost turns red from the effort. Before the Hydra has time to react, the dwarf sends it crashing into the nearest wall. The creature is now staggering clumsily, trying to get back up. This is the opportunity to rush towards. I think I'm gonna tell him. Tell Darren about the Hydra's weak spot. I don't think we will be able to cut it anyway. Hey Darren, I say, I just found out where the Hydra's heart is. Hydra is hiding its heart. It's not inside the body. It's at the tip of his tail. I'm gonna be so sure. Darren asked me. I've maxed out all my hearing stat. Trust me, it's there. I can hear it beating from all the way here. Is that so? Well, I guess there's only one way to be sure, Darren says, and he rushes towards the Hydra while he is still trying to maintain its balance. Even while striking, the creature still hasn't let its guard down. As Darren approaches it, 2 of its head lunge at him, but he steps sideways from one of them and slices through the other. Seizing the opportunity, he created to immediately make his way towards the tip of the monster's tail. Just as he's about to stab the heart, the Hydra moves his tail away and lifts it high into the air so that Darren can reach it no longer. The creature is not stupid and understood Darren's intention. It is also well aware of its own weak spot. Running away from me, eh? Darren says. Well, if you're not going to let me stab your heart, then I'll have to settle for the next best thing. He then jumps into the air, aims his sword at the very base of the monster's tail. He manages to cut it clean off in a single strike, and all the Hydra's head start screaming in agony at the same time. In a matter of seconds, all the heads fall silent. The Hydra comes crashing down on the floor as the life leaves its eyes for good. Not a dumb place to keep your heart at, Darren says. How the hell did Hydras not become extinct by now? They haven't become extinct because people like you keep assuming that its heart are inside its body and ignore the tail completely. Kid answers him, didn't you say you fought Hydras before and yet you have no idea what's weak point? I'd say that this natural diversionary tactic of theirs has been working out pretty well for them so far. Darren furrows his eyebrows, but he does not give Kate a reply. Suddenly we hear Flower's voice from above, who is now descending towards us, using two small jets of fire coming out of her feet to slow down her fall. Oh gods, I didn't know that there was a Hydra down here, she says. I would have come sooner, but those traps upstairs just kept going and going. She then lands and looks at the monster surprised, trying to see if it's really dead or just sleeping. I can't believe you guys actually took down a Hydra by yourself without any magic, she says. Is anyone hurt? Petal knows a little bit of healing magic, so we should be able to help if it's nothing too serious. Actually, I'll use some healing right about now. Hedrick says, this wound on my leg in particular is killing me. But on it, the girl says as she approaches the dwarf and puts a hand on her wound. Petal asks, and then she pauses for a few moments. The girl's eyes then start shining with a bright blue light as her expression becomes a lot colder and a warm light starts coming out of her hand, slowly healing Hedrick's wounds. So, Hedrick says while grinning, you must be the banshee inhabiting the girl's body. Petal, is it? The girl looks the dwarf in the eye without changing her whole expression, but she doesn't say anything. Then shifts her gaze back to his wound, continues to heal diligently. Not really the talkative sort, are you? Hedrick says, still grinning. As the wound heals completely, the girl's eyes turn back to its normal green color. Her warm expression returns as well. Oh, she usually is not this silent, Flower says. I think she's just shy around strangers. Well, I think the farce has gone on enough, Doran says, as he starts approaching Flower. I really am sorry, but I have to ruin this beautiful friendship, but I'm afraid the banshee has to go. Actually, I don't think that will be possible, I tell him. Oh yeah? Doran says. Why is that? Please enlighten us, oh great banshee expert. Because the banshee has already awakened. In fact, I think she's been in this state for a very long time. Impossible. Everyone knows that an awakened banshee is supposed to look like a genuine monster. Almost nothing should remain of their human host's appearance. Yeah, I've seen a banshee awaken before, remember? That doesn't, however, change the fact that this banshee has already awakened. In spite of all that, since she is clearly no longer in a dormant state, why don't you try a purification technique on her if you don't believe me? Darren says, I'm going to do that anyway. What are you doing? Flower says. Darren, as he approaches her, starts moving his sword in the air around her. Flower, it's alright, tell her. His technique won't work on you or Petal, I guarantee it. Oh, okay, Flower says with a slight tremor in her voice. Darren waves his sword in the air for about 15 seconds, trying to get it to light up so he can commence his purification. I don't know why our character knows that it wouldn't work. Because on an awakened banshee, you cannot do purification. Is that it? It's not working, Dara says after having finally given up. Of course it isn't, I tell him. The purification technique can only be used before a banshee is fully awakened, or the banshee never existed in the first place. An awakened banshee's aura is just too erratic to be able to get a good lock on to it, so the technique will simply fail to activate. The only way you can kill the banshee now is you also kill the girl along with her. Is that what you want? No, that's not. Don't listen to me, the girl shouts at us. Petal is here to stay whether you like it or not. You don't have to talk to her if you don't want to, and I'm here too. And even if I'm not the best guide there is, I'm the only guide you have. I promise that I'll take you all to the rooms full of buttons, and I don't intend to fall back on that promise. Still willing to follow me. Please tell us that you have at least a vague idea of where we are headed. So it's not like we have better. Yeah, I think I want to know a vague idea. Of course, Flower says, the only thing we need to do is get back to the corridor we came back from. There's an elevator not far from here that can take us back to the upper level. The fucking... Why do the animals have traps and fucking control rooms? Who built them? I'm pretty sure they can't build it themselves. They don't have hands. I mean, maybe monkeys build them? I don't know. We'll see. Take us back to the upper level. It will leave us right at the end of the corridor, so we don't have to worry about any more traps. That actually sounds like a pretty good plan, does it? I don't like being in elevators. I agree, Kate says. We can't afford to waste time bumbling around with the spirit fox breathing down our neck. I say we follow the girl's lead for now. Rose says, I still not having fully recovered her voice from the Hydra incident. I think we should follow Flower as well. Alright, then the girl says as her face lights up. You're not going to regret this. Come on, follow me. I know exactly where we're going. She then takes the lead, starts marching like a soldier in front of us, while repeatedly saying "Hut 2, 3, 4." I'm starting to regret this already, Darren says as we all start to follow the girl's footstep, leave the Hydra room behind. After a few minutes of walking, we finally reach the elevator that Flowers spoke of. It's entirely made of stone, but there are several levers inside, but I assume are used to operate it. Well, this is the elevator. I told you about it. The girl says we all enter it. Now, if only I could remember which one of these levers I need to pull.